Hi, today's video is brought to you by Shipmate, the only way to successfully ship semen around the world. If you're not using this product to ship semen, you should be. It'll make a huge difference to your success rate. A lot more information about this and other videos on the whole process at www.mybreedersupply.com. Okay. So I got an interesting phone call here about a week ago from a customer who's had a successful litter of puppies from one of my French Bulldog studs. And the problem was that the new mum didn't want anything to do with her puppies. So she had a paddling pool that she was using for a whelping box, and she'd put mama in with the babies and put the babies on mama, they'd nurse for a little bit, and then mama would get up and she'd leave. She'd get out of the paddling pool and she was done. And she'd never get back in the paddling pool. She didn't want to clean the babies up. She didn't want to nurse the babies. Basically, she was either lost in the whole process or wanted nothing to do with what was going on. And now they were like 3 days into this process. They hadn't been going to work. They'd been staying with mum, trying to get her to do what she needs to do. And the situation was getting desperate. So she called me. And I had a solution for her, and it worked. 24 hours later, she called me back and was just very, very happy because everything was right with the world. So, what was the solution? The first thing you need when you come home, and you should have got this ready before you came home with your new babies and mama, is a whelping box. So you need a place and a setup for mum and her babies to be happy and safe while she's bringing them up. Certainly for the first 3 weeks of their life. And so there's commercial whelping boxes that are out there. You can make your own. And this lady, she was using a plastic paddling pool, is what she was using, wading, little kids' play pool. And she'd thrown a blanket down in that, and I think she had a heat pad underneath it. But as I say, mum wouldn't stay in there for any length of time. So the solution is that you go get a large dog crate. Now, the size of the crate depends on the size of the dog. I mean, this technique in a dog crate probably not going to work for a German Shepherd. You're going to need something bigger. But basically, the idea is that you can confine mum with her babies. You force mum to be with her babies. She can't get away. And if you do that very quickly, the babies will find her, so they'll nurse, so they're happy. And then she will accept the fact that they're her babies, and then she'll start cleaning them up and licking on them, and very quickly, maybe in the space of just a few hours, certainly probably within a day, a mama that just wants nothing to do with her babies will be fine. Now, you can be in a situation where you have a mother that's hurting for some reason, or she's just going to be crappy with her babies, and she may even bite a baby. I mean, that's a different situation. So whenever you start this process, whenever I introduce babies to mum for the first time, then I'm always there to monitor the situation and hold the baby and put the baby up by a muzzle and let her sniff and lick on it and make sure that she's happy with what's going on. If you've got a C-section where you've got a mum that's kind of a bit drugged up and she's just come out of the C-section, especially a new mum, never had babies before, I mean, they can be a little bit lost to the world. They wake up, they don't feel good, they're groggy. I mean, be careful here, be sensible, Give mum every opportunity to be with the babies, but also monitor the situation. So I want to bring out some things that are very important about whelping boxes, and specifically this definitely applies to if you're going to put dogs inside a crate where there's not much room. So here's my mock-up of the kind of system that you need. So this would be suitable for mice. Obviously you're not going to get a dog in this, but the principle is exactly the same. What you want is a confined area that the dog can be in, where she can move around, i.e. that she can turn around to the box, she can stand up without her head, if you've got a top on it, without her head hitting the top. It's tall enough that she can't jump out of it. So that's the first thing about the box. What I like to use is a large dog crate. So for French Bulldogs, I use a large dog crate that I buy at Walmart, and I mean it's about maybe this kind of height, 2.5 foot tall, by about 2.5 foot wide, by about 3.5 foot long, and it's got a grate door on the front of it. When I say grate, I don't mean fantastic. I mean like a grate like this, so she can see out. And then I can put her in there, I can close the thing up, and I know she's in there with her babies. And I know that she can move around a little bit, so she can reposition herself and get comfortable. But I put a pig rail in there, and this is so important. If you're not putting a pig rail in any confined area, then I promise you at some point you're going to go there and check your puppies, and there'll be a puppy up against the wall and it's not moving, and your heart will start beating, and you'll go up there and pick the puppy up and it'll be stiff and cold. And that's a horrible, horrible, horrible day, and you can avoid it. And the solution is the pig rail. So what's a pig rail? It's simply a bar or a piece of wood or some structure that's off the floor and away from the wall, all the way around the perimeter of the container, that gives a place that a puppy can be pushed up against the wall by mum but not be squashed. So what will happen is mums get tired, puppy gets behind them, they turn over, whatever, the puppy gets slowly pushed up against the wall, mum keeps on going, doesn't realize the puppy's back there. The next thing you know is the puppy's got nowhere to go, it's up against the wall, and it gets suffocated, squashed, and it dies. Or it just simply gets pushed up against the wall, and it's up against the wall for some time and it doesn't get fed. I mean, puppies, newborn puppies especially, their reserves are measured in an hour. They need to have food, and they absolutely need to have warmth. And if they don't get those things within a few hours and every few hours, then they slowly go downhill, and they don't survive. So this technique is so simple, but it's fundamental. So the idea again is that you have an area between the wall and mum, that if mum hits up against the wall, she doesn't, she hits up against the pig rail, and it leaves a little space for the puppy to move around. So you can, if you've got a dog crate, you can use some broom handles. Cut a broom handle up, put a wood screw in both ends, put a wood screw and fasten it inside the box. Or you can get a PVC pipes, and you can drill some bigger holes and pass the PVC pipe, 4 of them all the way through the box. There's a zillion ways to get it done, but the important thing is that you just make this structure so there's a place where the puppy can coexist without being squashed. Right, so very, very simple. So, and by the way, for this lady, it fixed the problem. And we put the puppies inside this box, or inside, actually she used a dog crate, and very quickly the mother came around and all was fine. So I want to talk about a few other things about whelping boxes, because this is something that I think people don't realize how important it is. They may have puppies and they're not prepared for it, they haven't even got a whelping box. So here are some things that I think are fundamental to a whelping box. So the first thing is, I like to have a whelping box that I can put mum in, and I can go away for a few hours and I know she's going to be in there with her puppies. I don't want her to be able to just willy-nilly get out of the box, especially for the first few days. I want to have control of where she is, and if I want her in there with the babies, then that's where she's going to be. If I'm taking her outside for a walk or playtime, great, I open the door up and let her out. And so what I find with my girls is, I use a dog crate all the time, and they've got newborn puppies. Every few hours I'll let her out to just kind of relax, stretch her legs, play with me, go out and pee and poop. So I'll go outside with her, and she'll pee and poop, and she'll wander around. She'll come back. I have a utility room, and there's a glass door by that right next to the bedroom, and that's where I keep my dog crate. And what she'll do is, after she's been out there for just a little bit, she'll go running up to that door. She wants back in the house. I open the door up, she runs straight inside and goes straight in there with her puppies. She wants to be with her puppies. That's where she feels safest. She doesn't want to be away from her puppies for very long at all. Great, that's what you want. And so you can instill that in your dogs, but I think part of the secret is to give her a safe, confined area where she is warm and her puppies are warm. So, back to this box. A big enough box that she can move around in, that she can stand up in, that she can turn around in, but not much bigger than that. High enough walls that she can't jump out of it, or a roof on it where she can't get out. Some kind of access in one wall so that you can open it up and it's easy to get her out. You don't want to be lifting her out. You want her to be able to walk out. I mean, if she's had a C-section, her belly's sore, you're putting her hands on where that C-section scar is, it's not comfortable for her. So give yourself a way to easily get her in and out of the whelp box. So the important things about this is safe area for puppies with a pig rail. The next thing, and it's fundamental, is heat. So puppies, when they're born and for the first few days of their life, they cannot control their temperature. Puppies don't have a lot of fat, they don't have a lot of resources, and a puppy will very quickly get cold. And if it gets cold, it will stop nursing, and if it stops nursing, within a few hours it's in trouble, and within half a day it's probably going to be dead. So you've got to have a heat source. It can't just be mum, because they can get away from mum. You've got to have a heat source to keep this thing warm. So what you see in these commercial whelp boxes is typically a heat lamp that sits over the top of it. I hate heat lamps with a passion. I hate these things. I had an experience a decade plus ago, 15 years ago, where I was raising some lab puppies, and I was using a heat lamp. And the puppies were about a day and a half old, and I noticed that all the puppies were getting this kind of red coloration under their skin, they're kind of a rash. And so we took a puppy to the vet and said to Dr. Keith, my vet, what's going on? And he said, well, James, do you have a heat lamp? And I said, yeah. And he says, go home and unplug that stupid thing and put a heat pad underneath. You just sunburned your puppies. So I had sunburned the puppies. The puppies were fine. We took the heat lamp away and they recovered, within a day, everything was back to being normal. So what I did is I put a heat pad underneath the box that I'd constructed. So the heat came up through the floor. So why underneath and not inside? If you put the heat pad inside, Mum could chew through the cord, electrocute herself. Not good. Put it underneath, put the whelp box on top of it, and the heat comes up through the floor. You don't need a lot of heat. You'll cook Mum if you have too much heat. Enough heat that if you put your hand on the floor of the whelp box, it feels mildly warm. That's all that you need. If you're putting this on a tile or a concrete floor, put some towels down first to stop the heat going down into the tile, then put the heat pad, then put this on it. So heat pads, where do you get those from? Well, Kmart, Walmart, the box stores, they've got heating pads for humans, and that might work, but be aware of the fact that most of those these days, and it's probably a legal thing, have to shut off or do shut off after a few hours of use automatically. So if you get a heat pad and it says automatic shut off, don't use it, because if you do, you're going to go in there and after 6 or 7 hours, you'll go in there and everything will be cold, and that's, obviously defeats the purpose of the whole thing. So if you get a heat pad and it doesn't say automatic shut off, great, use it, but then check it every few hours for the first day to make sure that it's not shutting off. All right. So I think that's probably most of the discussion on whelping boxes. We are actually currently working on a design of a knockdown whelp box that you can ship and put away easily, that incorporates all these features plus some novel ideas about the way to use heat. So it's not available yet. We've got patent applications going on for it. That will be another few months. But all I can say on this is that it is very important that if you're going to have puppies, that you make a good environment for those puppies and mum. If you don't, you can have problems. And another thing on this whole environment thing is we choose an area that's draft-free in our house for mum and puppies to be, where it's quiet, where there's not a lot of traffic. I like a whelp box where mum can see out what's going on. If there's noise going on, it's good that she can see out to make sure that she realizes it's not a threat to her and her babies. When we have guests over, they want to see the puppies. We're very judicious about how we do this. We don't disturb mum in the first couple of days at all, just us, the people that she knows and loves, not strangers that she doesn't know and little kids who want to play with her puppies. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't play with puppies. You should, but you just want to be a little careful about not upsetting mum too much. I mean, for those mothers who are watching this, especially first-time mums, you know how it was when you had your first baby. You were very cautious about everything. And guess what? Dogs are no different than us. They have good days and bad days. They have dreams and people they like and don't like. They have wants and desires. They function, it may be at a slightly lesser sapient level than we do, but they have all the same things. So remember that, treat your puppies and your mamas the way that you'd want to be treated, and most of it's common sense. The pig rail, not so much common sense, fundamental to the whole process. The heat coming in through the bottom of the box, fundamental to the whole process. A safe area that mum can be with her babies, obviously makes sense. So do those things, and I think you'll have a fun and enjoyable litter of puppies, and it'll all go well. You have any comments, suggestions, things that we've got wrong, things that you want videos on, drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. And just to give us a plug one more time, Shipmate, the way to ship semen across the country or the world, guaranteed to work. For me personally, 700 consecutive shipments of semen without a failure comes from www.mybreedersupply.com. Lots and lots of videos about lots of things that are free for you to download and look at, just to do with this whole process, that I think you'll find it very informative. So thanks for watching and enjoy. Bye-bye.